What's going on, everybody? Man, Eric Wilson, Sports Arena here. Well, as you can see, week one is here. It is upon us. As I start all the shows here on the Sports Arena, we need justice for Breonna Taylor. We need justice for Elijah McClain. And we need justice for Vanessa Gillian. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. We got a host of games coming up here Sunday. So, I had to bring somebody up in here who actually had a little bit of knowledge and who could actually hold his own against your man when it comes to certain things. Now, I promised him I would not be all temper tantrum as he called me when it comes to my Philadelphia Eagles, but we'll see how it goes. The one and only Mr. Alex Fleming. Alex, look at him sharpen his Mike Evans jersey. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Feeling good. Football's almost here. All the work that we put in the offseason is not going to waste.
No, sir, it's not. You and I had some early bird predictions way back in the day. We're not even going to get into them. We just going to break down week one, more specifically, the Sunday matchups. So, my brother, if you ready, we can get down to business.
Let's do it.
Okay. So, I want to start off with an NFC South team that you have called the Falcons because they are actually hosting the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. Now, listen, the Atlanta Falcons have made some upgrades, if you will. They brought in Todd Gurley. You can't sleep on arguably one of the best in Julio Jones. And I'm thinking right now, if I have to look at this, a guy who I'm paying close attention to, especially in that sack department, is Dante Fowler. I'm not sleeping on Seattle, though. That's my cousin, man. That's my distant cousin, Russell Wilson. Pete Carroll right now, 3-4 against Atlanta. Dan Quinn only 1-2. What are your thoughts on this week one matchup? Now, before you break it down, let's just remind the people: no offseason, no preseason, excuse me. Well, virtually no training camp, no OTAs. This is like they throwing them to the wolves this year.
This is going to be a bomb party. Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan are going to throw all over the place. Todd Gurley might have a 50-50 game against that Seattle front. That's neither here nor there because running the football in Atlanta has never equated to a win. They haven't had a good rusher since some guy got caught with cocaine doing the dirty bird. But that's neither here nor there. I'm worried about the secondaries. The secondaries on both of these teams are going to be fragile. Burnt Toast, AJ Terrell, Hall from Wyoming, Atlanta, just awful, awful, awful. And I'm thinking DK Metcalf was the number one wide receiver in the red zone. Red zone, will you? Russell Wilson, 2 years ago, they led the league in rushing. Now DK Metcalf is a red zone threat. Once they get Josh Gordon back, they're going to be even worse. But it's only week one. I think Tyler Lockett and the new Linus that he inherited in Greg Olsen is going to be able to get the job done. This has the potential to be a shootout, but I still like Seattle. Defense wins.
Interesting. It is week one. They're at home and anything is possible. They plugged in a couple different pieces on the Atlanta side to try and upgrade them. Now, I spoke about Julio Jones, but let's not sleep on Calvin Ridley. I mean, this is a brother. He had in his four career games against Seattle. Calvin Ridley has 63 catches for 866 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. And that was just in 2019. Okay. So, as much as I love me some Tyler Lockett, and he does me well in fantasy, Greg Olsen, I'm sorry, he is a knee, shoulder, ankle, foot injury away from transitioning back into the broadcast booth. It is on the road, and sometimes Seattle doesn't play well on that East Coast. But I can't ignore my man, Russell Wilson. I'm sticking with him and saying when the chips are down, he has to be the guy to get it done. And you know how I feel. I'm not ever sold on Matt Ryan. There are those who would say Matt Ryan is just up there with some of the upper echelon quarterbacks. I do not think so. Even though his numbers are what they are, when it's time to kind of knuckle down and be Matty Ice, he just melts away. So I'm going to side with you on this one and take Seattle. But no surprise if Atlanta pulls out their home opener. Let's transition over
this is a fair
to
fight.
It is, but I'm still going to side with Seattle. So let's transition now to the AFC North because we got a matchup. Two teams that, if you look at them on paper, have weapons. But the one glaring difference is Cleveland just does not have a consistent head coach. In comes Kevin Stefanski. This is the same guy who, correct me if I'm wrong, he was the offensive coordinator for San Francisco. And remind me what happened to them in the Super Bowl? Yeah. So I'm like, Kevin Stefanski.
I have to correct you. You're wrong.
I'm sorry.
Offensive coordinator for Minnesota.
Minnesota. Okay. Yeah. What happened in that game against San Francisco?
Yeah, it was ugly.
I digress. So how is he, how he goes to being the starting head coach of the Cleveland Browns, one can only surmise. But with that being said, your boy, Freaky L, this is now the beginning of the encore, part 2, part 3, call it whatever you want to call it, of the Jackson 5 era. I know where you're going, but just for the people, tell them why El Freaky, Mark Andrews, and the rest of that crew is going to get it done against an AFC North divisional opponent.
Let me be quite frank and clear. You can run on the Cleveland Browns. Who led the league in rushing last year? The Baltimore Ravens. What did they do? Only to increase their record-setting performance from last year? Add J.K. Dobbins, who's already been a highlight reel in practice. Mark Ingram is scared looking behind his shoulder, knowing that the young cat's going after his starting position. Oh, and then they added Devin Duvernay, a possession wide receiver, big and lanky and ain't afraid to mix it up, from Texas to help out Willie Snead, Miles Boykin, and Hollywood Marquise Brown. Now, for those who don't know, Baltimore's offensive line ranked in the top 5. Lamar Jackson outscored Patrick Mahomes in fantasy. So for all you thugs out there that was saying I was talking out the side of my mouth, saying I'd pick Lamar Jackson over Patrick Mahomes, made you look. Oh, and he was an MVP for a reason. 3,127 yards passing, 1,206 yards rushing, 7 rushing touchdowns, and 36 passing touchdowns. Secondary, Cleveland. Other than Denzel Ward, it's a little bit suspect. And
Whoa,
do you trust
hold
Baker
on
Mayfield?
now. Hold on a second. Myles Garrett is back now. You can't sleep on Myles Garrett. Really? You just gonna gloss
Myles
over
Garrett
that?
was there for both games.
What about Olivia Vernon?
So Myles Garrett's there. Great. How about the linebacking core? Are they fast enough to keep up with J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram? Better yet, how'd that linebacking core do against El Freaky the second time around? Yeah, not that good. First game of the season, Baltimore was fresh. I think they hung almost 50 points on Miami. Now, I'm not going to compare Miami to Cleveland. Of course not. But you have a guy who likes to defecate, if you will, off the field. Landry, who's suspect at that number 1 wide receiving position. A dual-headed backfield that doesn't quite work because one is a track star and the other one is a pass catcher. Hunt got 2 years, $13 million extension, by the way. And then you got the guy who needs to make all the pieces fit, Baker Mayfield, who's a bit of a head case, who has more commercials than victories, who, by the way, knows this is his 3rd year. This is his make or break if he wants to get a big-time contract. You remember that draft. Baker went before El Freaky. Josh Allen went before El Freaky. Sam Darnold went before El Freaky. There's some dude that got cut that went to Tampa Bay's practice squad that got picked before El Freaky. So I think it's safe to say that Baltimore and quite a few players have some incentives to beat down an AFC North opponent.
For all those points and much more, I'm not even going to argue with you. We both say the Ravens are going to win this one. Let's keep it moving here on the Sports Arena. We'll stick in the AFC, but go to the AFC East. The New York Jets facing our boy Mookie's Buffalo Bills. I am very surprised to realize that Adam Gase is 4-4 against Buffalo, while Sean McDermott is 3-3 against the Jets. You got to speak to me on this one because week one, again, anything is possible. I don't see the Jets going in to Bill Stadium, but it's an AFC East matchup and anything is possible. Is Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs going to be able to hook up? How is Le'Veon Bell looking? How is Jamison Crowder going to fit in with Sam Darnold? What about these two defenses? You got to help me on this one, Alex, because I'm telling you, something in my brain is telling me the Jets might surprise people week one. We've seen them do it in years past, and the Jets have won 2 of the past 3 times. That's the
You've
streak
been
right now.
drinking, sir.
I
That's the
have
only
not.
reason why
I
you've come
have
to
not.
that conclusion.
Have not.
Okay, let me straighten some things out. You
Okay.
say that Gase is 4-4 while McDermott is 3-3.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what playoff position Buffalo had last year? It didn't mean a damn thing whether they played that last game of the season against the Jets or not. So they lied down and rested their starters. And that's the only reason why Gase is 4-4 and McDermott is 3-3. Now,
Okay.
let's go back to reality. Devin Singletary and Zach Moss are going to be splitting carries. So if you drafted Singletary, be upset because Moss is a standout, but then again, he's been a stud since his days in Utah, and he's healthy. Matchup issues. Can you name the best corner for the Jets now that Jamal Adams, the safety, is gone? Yeah. I need a T-shirt that says this. Who got Diggs? Who got Diggs? You're not dealing with Smurfs anymore with Smokey John Brown and Cole Beasley. Who got Diggs? By the way, there might be a Gabriel Davis sighting from UCF. They're much bigger on the outside and the inside. Offensive line, everybody returned from Buffalo. Leonard Williams is no longer with the Jets, Jets. Oh, and CJ Mosley opted out, COVID reasons. So now you're missing your main 2 tacklers. Jamal Adams is gone. CJ Mosley's sitting out. Who tackling? Bruh, who
Hold on now. You just
tackling?
okay.
By
Hold
the
on.
way,
Time out.
one
You
last
well,
note.
go ahead. You got Jordan Jenkins. You got a linebacker there. You got Neville Hewitt.
Who?
Okay.
Who?
Neville Hewitt. All right. Then
Okay,
at your
who?
safety position, you've got Marcus Mays and Bradley McDougall. So I mean, I know these
Which
guys are
are
still
both
coming,
downgrades from Mr. Adams.
but the one guy you're not saying, and I'm very surprised you did not bring him up, is the fact that Mr. Consistency has jumped from Buffalo to New York, and that is Frank Gore. You got Le'Veon and Mr. Consistency, Frank Gore. You don't think they can rush and get through the holes if the
No.
Jets off? Okay, all right. I'm just
No, and here's why. Mario Addison, Vernon Butler, and a lot of these cats already know about all the smoke from Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell hasn't had a carry over 20 yards in 2 years. And Mr. Gore, with all due respect to Mr. Gore, he's averaging about 500 to 600 yards the last 2 seasons. He's going to have to supplant 2 other running backs to get that starting job. Gore is Bell's relief. Bell wants to get on the flat. He wants to manipulate coverages. He wants the ball more. Adam Gase can't stand him. So let's do the factors. You're missing your main 2 tacklers on defense. Your primary rushing attack is a man that's older than you and me, probably combined in dog years, and Le'Veon Bell, who hasn't had a 20-yard run in 2 years. Your primary outside weapons is a rookie from Baylor, who's probably going to have to learn some time and get the playbook down because there was no offseason training camp. And a guy who's been so terribly inconsistent, he couldn't stay with the last team he was with because he was messing up plays, hitting the running back in the backfield. Now, Mr. Perryman does have speed and he does have skill. Do you think that him and Sam Darnold already have a rapport that could be better than Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, who, by the way, is a touchdown machine this year because he led all quarterbacks in touchdowns rushing? Look for him to have a more productive year that be Josh Allen, Josh Boucher.
Okay. I get where you're coming from, and I realize all the points. I'm just saying it's week one, no preseason, no OTAs, AFC East matchup. I'm throwing the book out the window. So, yeah, if you want to call me crazy, say I'm drinking, do whatever you want to do. But I'm taking the Jets on this one to do something and surprise some people. Expect a lot from Le'Veon, and the man that you actually did give credit to at the wide receiver position, Brashard Perryman. I think he's going to make a statement week one. Now, the rest of the season, up for grabs. But I'm taking the Jets week one over Buffalo.
Thank you for the easy victory. Tre'Davious White's going to shut down Perriman. Oh, and Josh Norman is healthy, so he's going to be on Mims. So the rookie's going to have even a worse day.
All
Buffalo's got an excellent defensive front. They got good linebackers and a great secondary. Buffalo has the better offense, the more scripted offense, the more compatible offense with the dual-headed backfield. I got Buffalo. Thank you for the W.
You're welcome. We shall see. Hey, more with your man, Eric Wilson, and of course, my brother, Alex Fleming on the Sports Arena here. We're going to break some more games down. Be back in just a moment. A big thank you to Natalini and company for letting us post that one. Hey, as soon as COVID is over, everybody get the opportunity. Go check out Central America. It is truly something to behold. But you made Eric Wilson back with my man, Mr. Alex Fleming, Florida Sun Review. He shows all over the place, and we got something cooking in the works, so get ready for that. But let's keep the show going. I know. It's dropping soon, so we're gonna give people a sneak peek maybe here in a couple of days. I don't know yet. We'll talk about it. But let's keep it moving here. And let's talk about. I'm just calling them from this point forward. They're the Raiders to me. I'm tired because they done jumped from Los Angeles to Oakland. Now they're in Las Vegas. The Raiders. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
The Raiders coming to Carolina to face Teddy Bridgewater, Christian McCaffrey, the highest paid running back in the NFL currently, and the Carolina Panthers, who now got a brand new coach because Ron Rivera is up there in Washington, and we'll get to him momentarily. Your thoughts on the Raiders and Teddy Bridgewater making his debut as the starting quarterback of the Carolina Panthers?
This game low key could be explosive. We know what McCaffrey can do. Curtis Samuel has been in that system. Robbie Anderson left the Jets to go to Carolina to be free. I think he hooks back up with Matt Rule because I think they did a small tent in Temple. I could be wrong. Here's my point. Carolina is going to be able to score points this year. I see them as the basement dwellers in the NFC South, but they're not playing the NFC South. They're playing the AFC West. And the Vegas Raiders have a couple of injuries on their side of the ball. No Vontaze Burfict. Abram may not be completely healthy, the safety they got out of Mississippi State. Oh, and no Tyrell Williams, which leads me to Henry Ruggs, the third, the fastest man at the combine, who ran a 4.2940 and tried to break Chris Johnson's record. Okay, fine. I see. Well, John Ross has the record now. Let me correct myself. That's neither here nor there. Vegas's offense is going to be explosive with Josh Jacobs, the poor man's Christian McCaffrey, Anthony Edwards, Braylon Edwards, that is, and last but not least, a guy that nobody's talking about, Darren Waller, a possession tight end receiver. I think Vegas has the better roster, but since Carolina's at home, I'm calling this an upset. I think
Wow.
Carolina gets them boys on Sunday.
See, I don't think so. Because again, my reason being with this is I think we haven't seen these teams fully come into their own because of what has transpired this season. And because of that, I'm going to side with experience versus the chemistry. As you so eloquently put on a show that we do called The Magic Perspective, energy plus synergy equals chemistry. The Raiders, no matter where they are, they got chemistry right now. And I'm looking at Derek Carr to Darren Waller. I'm looking at Derek Carr to Hunter Renfrow. Now that defense to me, even though they got Corey Littleton, even though they got Max Crosby, Trayvon Mullen, I like that nucleus coming together. But to me, it's not there yet. I'll take a Shaq Thompson, Rasul Douglas, a Trey Boston, and a Derek Brown over what Vegas has.
Don't forget Brian Burns.
And Brian Burns, thank you, sir. But I just feel like it's the consistency of the coaches, and I'm going on experience. Now, Teddy, we know what Teddy's capable of. This brother can get it done. As long as he's in the right system, he can get it done. And we're going to see what he looks like under Matt Rule. But for week one, I got to go with Vegas on it. I feel like Vegas just has that something inside again clicking on me. And I'm going to go with Vegas.
All right. This one's an agree to disagree because we both have our reasons.
Fair enough. Let's keep it going. We going up to your hometown, brother, the NFC North, because you have the Chicago Bears who are starting Mitchell Trubisky. Let me say this again for the people listening. Mitchell Trubisky is the starting quarterback. And Matt Nagy is 4-0 against Matt Patricia, who is 0-4, Detroit Lions. Alex, this is your home away from home, brother. Mitchell Trubisky, David Montgomery, Allen Robinson heading to Ford Field, NFC North matchup. What do you like about this game?
I love the disconnect that Matt Patricia has with his running backfield. Just when you think you got younger and you figured things out, you sign Adrian Peterson to a $1 million deal and you mess things up all over the place. Now, you could have left him alone and had Kerryon Johnson and DeAndre Swift splitting carries and bringing some youth back to Detroit. But no. You can't have anything good happen there. You have Kenny Golladay, Southside Chicago's own, Marvin Jones Jr., for damn sure a good number two, and they're all going to get suffocated by that bear down defense. Not having Goldman is going to hurt Chicago, but picking up Quinn is going to help because now you have two sack artists and Robert Quinn and Khalil Mack who are going to be able to get the job done and apply pressure on a man with a bad back.
Don't sleep on Roquan. Don't sleep on Roquan.
I'm not sleeping on Roquan.
Okay, just checking.
I'm not sleeping on Roquan. Roquan's going to be in coverage handling TJ Hawkinson. That's why I didn't mention him. Yes.
Fair enough.
Fuller's going to have his hands full with Golladay because I respect the man's gangster. But the real key to this game is coaching. Who do you trust? Chuck E. Cheese or Matt Nagy?
Neither
As
one.
you already mentioned, Matt Patricia is 0-4 against the Chicago Bears. And he needs this win to not only save his job, but to make an impression in the NFC North. Matt Nagy and the Chicago Bears defense are mad. They went 8-8 despite Mitchell Trubisky last year. Mitchell Trubisky knows that there's somebody ready to take his spot. He's an overpaid number two that shouldn't even be there. It should probably be Mahomes or Watson, but that's a different conversation for a different day. He's going to come out swinging. Chicago all the way.
I can't argue with you on that one, man. As long as Khalil Mack and Roquan are there, I just can't. The Bears defense will find a way to get it done. So we agree on that one. Let's keep it going, man. We got an AFC South matchup. Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts heading to Jacksonville. I can already see your facial expression. We can keep it moving if we both say the Colts. We can keep it moving.
Colts.
Okay. Enough said. We're going to keep going. We're not even going to talk about them. But here's one for you. Speaking of the NFC North, another divisional rivalry. We've got our boy Jake's Green Bay Packers heading to the U.S. Bank Stadium to face Mike Zimmer, Mr. Mediocrity and Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, Kyle Rudolph, and the Minnesota Vikings. Here's what I say about Green Bay. Now, Matt LaFleur is 2-0 against Minnesota. Meanwhile, Mike Zimmer, 5-6-1 against Green Bay. This matchup has the opportunity to be just another cerebral kind of matchup when you think of it from a quarterback perspective. Because as much as I may not care for Kirk Cousins, I will say this. The fact that this brother threw for over 3,600 yards last year, he was 26-6 TD to INT and has a 107.4 QBR, which, yeah, I have to respect him on that level. I'm glad they were able to work something out with Dalvin Cook, because if they didn't have a run game, that's all you had to do was just shut down those three wide receivers. But I can never ignore Aaron Rodgers. And if I was doing fantasy this year, a guy that I personally would have picked up, not in the first round, but I would have got him on the cheap, would have been Aaron Jones, because just when people start sleeping on him, that's when he comes to play. Let me get your thoughts on this before I give you who I think is going to win this game.
All right. Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. He's earned my respect. No matter how much you hate him, you can't deny the skill. With that being said, Aaron Jones, record-setting year. What do? They draft A.J. Dillon. So now he's going to be splitting carries at the end of the 2020 season. Did you get him some wide receiver help? Can you name me another wide receiver besides Montez, Valdez, Scantling, and Devontae Adams?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. Can you get... I'm waiting patiently, because Jake Kumerow, who you might have pulled out your butt, is now on the Bills practice squad. So, Jake Sternberger had COVID and just wasn't that good in practice, so he won't even be starting. So now you got this Tonyan guy who's going to be catching passes from an under duress Aaron Rodgers because his left side tackle left for greener pastures. Let's talk about that Minnesota Viking defense. All they did was pick up Yannick Ngakoue to go right next to Danielle Hunter. They already had the hitman Harrison Smith. And didn't Anthony Barr already take Aaron Rodgers out for half a season not too long ago? He's still on the roster, right? He's still there, right? While they got rid of Trey Waynes and Xavier Rhodes at the cornerback position because they were garbage. Minnesota is primed to win this division, and it's at home. If they're going to make a move in the NFC North, why not start week 1? I got Minnesota.
Oh, you make a very compelling case, sir. But again, I have to go with the bad man that is Aaron Rodgers. Listen, they went 13-3 for the first time since 2016. Aaron Rodgers passed for over 4,000 yards. I mean, it's week 1, and I'm going to side with the fact that Green Bay knows and understands, even though they've added an additional playoff spot, in order to get that bye, you have to be the top. There is no number 2 anymore. Number 2, you playing number 7, and number 7 can upset you. We could see history in the postseason. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers to go into Minnesota against his divisional opponent, and I think this one is going to be a true shootout between these two teams. But at the end of the day, I got to side with my man, Aaron Rodgers. Let's move on. Alex, I got a quick question for you.
Ask away.
Will Tua Tagovailoa start week 1 versus Cam Newton, Bill Belichick, and the New England Patriots?
Hell to the no. To the no. Okay. Ryan Fitzpatrick has already been named the starter of the Miami Dolphins. It's Ryan's job to lose, and you and I both know he will lose it. But not week 1. No. They're going to develop Tua. Tua's going to take his sweet time to know the offense, get to know his players, get to know the playbook, and heal. Ryan Fitzpatrick is the starter of the Miami Dolphins. And I don't like his chances against Captain America and those New England Patriots.
Nope.
I honestly believe that offense is going to function better under Cam than it did under some 42-year-old quarterback that was there last year.
Wow. You serving notice like that already? It's only week 1. You serving notice like that? Okay. Speak on it. You done brought it to the table.
Cam Newton is a runner. Tom Brady was not. Cam Newton's arm and shoulder are healed. That man's got a chip on his shoulder the size of Chips Ahoy. He's got a lot to prove. He took a prove it contract, even though he was a former MVP and Super Bowl runner up. People have been talking bad about him, talking bad about his fashion, calling him Medea, and saying things out of their mouth that they would never say to him in his face. N'Keal Harry, Arizona State, has something to prove. Injured rookie year. Julian Edelman, old man out. Do you still have it or do you love his stuff? Kyle Van Noy went to Miami. Trey Flowers is in Detroit. Stephon Gilmore starting to get old. Smokey John Brown burnt him last year. This team has a lot to prove. Cam came in and took that position from Jared Stidham. He's a starter. James White, Rex Burkhill, Shoney Michel, and when he gets healthy, Damian Harris. I believe this offense is going to function better under Cam than it would under Brady. I have New England steam rolling the Miami Dolphins.
Wow. You realize that New England doesn't even have a kicker on their roster? Don't matter. Okay. Hey, with that, that's a mic drop moment right there. We're going to take another break. When we come back, Alex and I are going to get into the Washington football team versus my Philadelphia Eagles. Sports Arena, back in a moment. Sports Arena, back here with your man Eric Wilson and of course my brother Mr. Alex Fleming. So, all right, it's about that time. Y'all know how I get down when it comes to my Philadelphia Eagles. I'm gonna take the subtle approach because this is only week 1. But I'm gonna start with my man Mr. Alex Fleming. Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington football team, sir. NFC East divisional matchup. What are your thoughts?
Washington hasn't beat Philadelphia in quite some time, especially in week 1 or early matchups. Washington will be without Ron Rivera, who's going through chemotherapy, leaving Jack Del Rio as the interim head coach. Washington is on a youth movement. They cut Adrian Peterson last week, and they're going to go with J.D. McKissick, Antonio Gibson, Bryce Love. Youth movement. Young Simba, overlooked, overthought, overshadowed. The same man that you thought Cam Newton needs to take his spot because he was unproven. Shame, shame, shame. Rookies need a learning curve. Well, guess what? For all the haters, detractors, and bigots out there in Annapolis, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. area, Dwayne Haskins is your quarterback. Deal with it. With that being said, they're young. I love what the defense has to offer. Chase Young is the predator, and they're going to be good. Eventually. No training camp, no voluntary workouts, no preseason games. they have the chance to be sluggish. This is a mixture of Big Ten and SEC as the Washington football team. And they do have weapons. Only problem is timing. Pressure and time, they don't have it. The one thing Philadelphia does have over them, because it damn sure isn't talent, is synchronicity. They do have synchronicity. Now, I would take Antonio Gibson over Miles Sanders, number one, even though Miles Sanders is with Saquon Barkley as the only running backs to have 1,000-yard rushing and 800 yards receiving. With that being said, Antonio Gibson is a Swiss Army knife, and people are going to see what he can do. I also like Terry McLaurin better than any wide receiver on the Philadelphia Eagles roster. I mean, Greg Ward was passing out hot dogs not too long ago, and Deshaun Jackson is almost as old as you. Can Alshon Jeffrey catch, or does he deflect it to New Orleans Saints defenders? I'm not quite sure. Is he even a starter anymore, or did J.J. Arcega-Whiteside take his spot? I'm not quite sure. I know Terry McLaurin's a bad brother. Even you can't deny that. But with all that said, I got Philly.
I told you I was going to be subtle because it's just week one. So I'm going to let you get away with all that little stuff that you just said right there. But best believe it will come back to haunt you at a later time, my brother. And I'm surprised, Mr. Information Human Computer that you are, that you did not mention Peyton Barber, who is making his Washington debut. You were quick to talk about J.D. McKissic and Antonio Gibson, but totally messed on who the number one running back is going to be. But you know what? That's fine. Because here it is simple and easy for even you, sir, to understand. Washington, yes, they're young. But more importantly than that, they have to rebuild. Now, I'm taking Ron Rivera, a man that I highly respect, a man who you, sir, interviewed at the NFL Combine, who was very real with you, very factual with you, and respected you in a way that some coaches may or may not have. However, he is trying to get the organization on the right side of history. He is trying to also win, which I know he will, but make no mistake about it. Washington is not ready for Philadelphia because we, the Philadelphia Eagles, and yes, I'm throwing myself in the mix, even though I don't play or don't even hold the clipboard, we have something to prove. Because even though we were able to get out of the NFC East at 9-7, that was not who we are. That's not what we are. Now, you can speak about Alshon Jeffries and Deshaun Jackson all you want, but make no mistake about it. Both of those gentlemen, when healthy, at 100%, I put them up against a lot of wide receiving duos. Yes, that even includes your Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. But we'll save that conversation for another time down the road. Carson is going to get it done. Miles is going to get it done. And, oh, by the way, wow, we still have two of the best tight ends in the league today. Not one, but two, Ertz and Goddard. This is just going to be more of history repeating itself. Eagles take the win over the Washington football team. But don't think I'm forgetting. I'm gonna hold all this ammunition back here for a later time, my brother. Let's keep it moving. Tyrod Taylor, sir, gets his start in Cincinnati against the number one draft pick, Joe Burrows, and the Bengals. Talk to me about this one.
West Coast teams don't do good on the East Coast, but it's week one. That's the outlier. Tyrod Taylor has Austin Eckler. Tyrod Taylor has Justin Jackson. Tyrod Taylor has the best route running wide receiver in the league in Keenan Allen. And he also has Mike Williams. Oh, and a healthy Hunter Henry. Tyrod Taylor has a coach that actually believes in him, and Anthony Lynn. And Tyrod Taylor has a defense that was good with or without Derwin James, who only got better with Chris Harris. AJ Green is probably going to have a frustrating day, even though he is going to return to the field. Welcome back, AJ Green. Tyler Boyd, 50-50. 50-50. Yeah. John Ross, combine hero. He hasn't done anything in the NFL yet. And I respect Joe Mixon, but I believe Mr. Bosa and Ingram are going to give him a very long day. Burrow is going to have problems adjusting to NFL speed, and he's going to get his welcome to NFL moment the second his defense lets him down.
Wow.
I got the Chargers.
I can't argue with you on any facet. I say Tyrod Taylor goes in, a man who knows and understands that this year of all years is definitely going to be one where people are going to pay attention to the black quarterbacks. And my hope is that Tyrod Taylor shows up and shows out like we know he can. Let's keep it moving here on the sports arena. So, Alex, we're finally getting to the game of the week, the game that everybody wants to talk about, because it is, in fact, two future Hall of Fame quarterbacks going up against each other in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, Cameron Jordan on the defensive side of the ball, who are hosting Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, Mike Evans, Shaq Barrett, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And before we get started on anything, let me just say this. You brought this young man's name up earlier, or you brought him up. You know what annoys me the most about this team? Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen, if he just basically holds the clipboard and keeps his mouth shut, could potentially be a Super Bowl champion at the end of this season. I want his agent, because how do you go from being a first round draft pick, top 10 first round draft pick in Arizona, couldn't get the job done there, in Miami, lost the job to an aging, not sure which guy's going to show up, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and then are rewarded to sit behind Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. Whoever Josh Rosen's agent is, please call me. I want to hire you to get me paid like that.
Well, here's how I see that situation. Surely he's got to be better than Blaine Gabbert. I digress. Too many mouths to feed. Rojo is the number one back. Leonard Fournette's going to be used in situations, but he will get his touches. Keyshawn Vaughn is still going through COVID. He needs to learn the playbook. Shady brings the experience and raw edge. The running game was an issue the last 5 or 6 years. Oh, that's ironic. Winston was there the last 5 years. But that's another conversation for another day. With that being said, we have the dynamic duo. I don't know what the hell you were talking about with all that Philly talk with Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson. Because last time I checked, the dynamic duo had 2,490 yards receiving and 17 touchdowns before they both went down with injury. So if you want to say that you have a better wide receiver, maybe. Better wide receivers? Wrong. And the tight end room, a healthy Gronk for how long we don't know. OJ, who's on his 5th-year option and knows, well, this could be his last year, but he's on a Super Bowl caliber team. And Cameron Brate, the guy that can't block anybody, but is just an offensive weapon. Too many mouths to feed. Now, let's look at the Saints. They had problems with Kamara. They're working on a contract. The addition of Emmanuel Sanders is going to make it hard on every secondary because you already couldn't guard Mike. And Taysom Hill is factored as a tight end in ESPN fantasy leagues. So if you're looking for a backup quarterback dash tight end and you're desperate, you might as well pick up Taysom Hill, especially if you're playing double tight end sets. Here's my point. In that Thunderdome in New Orleans, it's usually an advantage for them whenever they have fans. There's no fans this Sunday. There's no fans this Sunday. You have one team versus another team. Smoke versus smoke. And as much as I respect Drew Brees, because I do respect Drew Brees, on and off the field, I don't give a damn if he's Republican. It doesn't matter. The man has a voice and he does good in the community. You only got 6 shots, while this guy over here has got a street sweeper. So many weapons. Oh, and we were number 1 against the run last year. Did something change? Did we lose somebody? Please let me know because our linebacker core is definitely in the top 3. You'll struggle to name 2 other teams that have better linebacking cores than the Tampa Bay Bucks. So you know what? This is one of those times where I'm just gonna soak it in and be like, we coming for you. New Orleans, we are coming for you. You've been whipping people's asses for the last 3 years. And Tom Brady and them bullies and his money and the reps and ESPN and everybody else wants that to stop. This is our year. Deal with it.
I just have one concern, and his name is Tristan Wirfs, the humble giant that is now playing left side on that offensive line. And my only reason for that concern, as you know, sir, is his first matchup is against Cameron Jordan. And Cameron Jordan wants all that smoke. Now, I'm taking Tampa. Let me be very clear. I'm picking the Bucks to beat the Saints in the Superdome, week 1. Tom Brady, all the weapons in the world. But that matchup of Tristan Wirfs and Cameron Jordan is one that I'm going to pay very close attention to.
You do know Tristan Wirfs was a power lifter, wrestling champion, and track champion in shot put.
I do.
I think Tristan Wirfs is looking forward to this matchup. I think Tristan Wirfs was picked at that 14th spot to stop a gentleman named Cameron Jordan. I think Cameron Jordan is going to get a very rude wake-up call when he goes up against Tristan Wirfs, thinking he's going to abuse the rookie, and then he's going to feel the smack power of Tristan Wirfs.
All right, let's get to our last 425 game before we close it out with the 8 o'clock game here. And it is my sleeper team this year. And I really can't call him a sleeper team, though, because when you have Kyler Murray, you have DeAndre Hopkins, the living legend that is Larry Fitzgerald, and you have a Kenyon Drake. Oh, and by the way, on that defensive side, I'm looking at my boys Jordan Hicks, Patrick Peterson, and of course Chandler Jones. I'm saying to myself, San Francisco.
Don't forget Isaiah Simmons. Don't forget Isaiah Simmons.
Isaiah Simmons.
Lockdown linebacker standout who clowned everybody at the combine.
I'm just saying, San Francisco, please believe the Super Bowl hangover is real. Now, I was a big fan of Jimmy G, and I said until someone beat him, I was riding with him. But you made it all the way to the Super Bowl, albeit somewhat in part to Minnesota helping you get there. But you had the opportunity to create a name for yourself, Jimmy G. And what happened? The real human cheat code, the Lord and Savior, future Hall of Famer Patrick Lavon Mahomes II. Yeah, shout out to Kristen. Thank you for that one again. Proved that with 6 minutes left in the game, he could put up whatever and do whatever to win the Super Bowl. Bruh, I'm taking Arizona all day in this one. Week 1 NFC West matchup. Give me the Cardinals.
Upset special. Okay, now you remember how Tyreek Hill burnt Richard Sherman when it mattered the most?
Yes, sir.
You remember how Sammy Watkins burnt Richard Sherman when it mattered the most?
Yes, sir.
Larry Fitzgerald, for some odd reason, had luck against this San Francisco secondary, and now you're going to add Nook? I mean, really? Really? Plus, in the Raider Rash offense that is Cliff Kingsbury's, not only does the number 1 and number 2 and number 3, but number 4 wide receiver get some profile and some playing time. Kenyon Drake had 8 touchdowns in the short amount of time that he was in Arizona. Now, if you extrapolate that over 16 games, Kenyon Drake is a 1,400-yard rusher and a 652-yard receiver. And if you do that with the touchdowns, that's about 20. That's fantasy relevant just a little bit. Kyler Murray under pressure averaged 64% passing. And this man was running for his life last year. Oh, and for that defense, George Kittle was abusing Buda Baker, who got his money. Bless your soul. I'd like to see him do that against Isaiah Simmons, who runs faster than Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley and had excellent numbers when it came to weightlifting as well. I don't think he's going to go down like a punk. If it smells like a duck and it quacks like a duck,
It ain't
and
a
it's
damn
hot,
mongoose.
it's not a damn mongoose. Upset special. I got Arizona.
We agree on that one. All right, we're going to take one last break, then we're going to come back with the Sunday night matchup, which is the Los Angeles Rams hosting my arch rival, whose name I still refuse to say, even though I love me some Mike Carrottenuto and Root to Truth.
We them boys.
Whatever. Sports Arena, Alex and Eric, back in a moment.
For over 100 years, the story has been written, ever changing and growing with each new chapter. The soul remains, though the characters change. Bigger, faster, stronger, smarter.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide.
So too grows our fandom. Start miles ahead. The 2020 Prospect Encyclopedia.
We're dedicating this season to social justice.
We're challenging you, the fans, to join us.
Sky Takes Action means equality.
Providing opportunities.
Making an immediate impact
means justice.
Sky Takes Action means bringing a community together.
Serving others means family.
Sky Takes Action means doing your part.
Is encouraging others to do more.
Period.
Sky Takes Action means using our platform to create change.
Real change.
We've partnered with Athletes for Justice to raise money for Chicago-based charities that are fighting for equality for all.
For all.
And welcome back to the Sports Arena. Your man, Eric Wilson, alongside my brother, Alex Fleming here. So we're going to wrap this up. We got one last game to get to. But before we do that, I want to take a quick moment and recognize my brothers at Blitzalytics for that encyclopedia. Y'all need to get that. If y'all want some inside information from a group of talented men, had the pleasure of working with them over the last 5 years. They are some great boys. That encyclopedia is well worth your time. If you're a football fan and want some insider knowledge, definitely get your hands on the Blitzalytics Encyclopedia 2020. And then, of course, a big thank you to the WNBA and, more importantly, the Chicago Sky for allowing me to cover that team this year. I'm looking forward to them in the postseason. Let's get this win, lady, because there is no limit, because y'all, the Sky, needs to be said. My brother Alex, we got this last game here, and you know how I am on Sundays. There are two teams that I root for, the Philadelphia Eagles and whoever's playing them boys. So, yes, I am a Rams fan, and they are opening up this brand new stadium. You could, all you want. Fact of the matter is, I still like me some Jared Goff, some Malcolm Brown. Oh, and my boy, Mr. Fantasy, Cooper Kupp is back. Not to mention, you still have one of the top, if not the top defensive guy in the entire NFL in Aaron Donald. So Here is my hope and wish that Aaron Donald puts not one, not two, not three, a couple hands on Mr. Dak. Get your money and leave Dallas Prescott.
You
I got the
sound
Rams.
desperate right now,
Why do you
bro.
mean I sound desperate?
Do you remember what happened in 2019 when the Rams played Dallas? Do you remember? Do I need to remind you?
No, I remember.
Let me remind you.
I know.
Ezekiel Elliott
You
ran
ain't got-
crazy on that defense.
You ain't got to
Dak
tell me.
Prescott threw for 3 touchdowns.
I understand.
Dak was out the end of the fourth quarter. There was actually a backup sighting.
Wow.
They were down so bad. The Rams scored a touchdown late in garbage time.
Still
I believe
scored,
the score was 44-21.
They still.
Now, what in the hell makes you think that anything different is going to happen with the addition of CD Lamb? Stop me if you heard this one.
Okay.
That's the definition of insanity.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Listen, Jared Goff, okay, you got Malcolm Brown. Oh, and let's not forget Cam Akers, who I think
Rookie, no
okay.
training camp,
It
no
doesn't matter.
workout.
Great pickup for the Rams in the second round. All right. Now, let's go to this wide receiving core. You've got Cooper Kupp. You've got Robert Woods. You've got Van Jefferson. Oh, and I forgot about that tight end. What's his name? Higbee, the guy who has set career highs in reception, receiving yards, and touchdowns last season. Come on now. He had 4, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 100+ yard games last season. All right. You have to find a way to stop Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, because if you do, then that Dallas defense might have a chance. Oh, wait. Is Sean Lee even playing? Do we know what his status is for Sunday night? All right. I am of the mindset, no matter how good DeMarcus Lawrence is, and he's good, but you touched on Everson Griffin, who bounced from Minnesota to come to Dallas. So you went from getting your money and being lazy to coming to Dallas to be apathetic? Bro. I'm sorry. I'm taking the Rams all day on this one.
Apathetic?
Yeah, apathetic. Look it up.
Oh, wow.
I
All right.
said it.
Well, number one, Mr. Donald is an average run stopper. Yes, you heard me. You could quote me on that. NFL and statistics back me up on that. He is an average run stopper. I think it's safe to say that there's absolutely nothing average about Ezekiel Elliott. Oh, did I mention the triplets? Amari Cooper, the $100 million man.
Garbage.
Michael Gallup, the best kept secret in football.
I'll agree with you on that.
Who passed my eye test, CD Lamb, Richardson, Texas,
Rookie.
standout. Did most of his scoring in the first half of all of his games as an OU Sooner. Averaged 1,000 yards receiving every single year in college. Looked better than Amari Cooper or Michael Gallup in practice.
He hasn't played an NFL game. You want to throw out rookie every time I bring somebody up? We don't know what CD Lamb is like. We don't know what he's like. He has not stepped 1 foot on the NFL field. Amari Cooper is average at best. So the only wide receiver they got to worry about is Michael Gallup.
You keep telling yourself that, Philadelphia fan.
I will.
Ezekiel Elliott. Oh, and by the way, Blake Jarwin. I told you guys during COVID season to watch out for Blake Jarwin. Blake Jarwin has chemistry with Dak Prescott. Ooh, Dak Prescott. Angry Dak. 4,902 yards last year, Dak. He hung 380 of them on this sorry old Rams team.
Hold on. 4,092. If you're going to put the man's numbers up there.
4,902, sir.
No, 4,092.
Know your numbers.
I do.
He was 4, not a 5,000 yard passer. He was 4,902.
No, he was not. He was 4,092. He had
we
30
look
touchdowns.
It up real quick, bro.
I'll share my screen and show it to you. I'm looking right at it right now. Dak Prescott, 4,092. Hold on. I get it with you. Give me 2 seconds.
Here's my point. Why would you think something's going to be different after the departure of Dante Fowler and after the departure of Clay Matthews and after the injury at the offensive line? What in the world would make you think that the Rams are still those same Rams that went to the Super Bowl? Oh, yeah, that's right. That shiny new stadium and the fact that you're an Eagles fan. That's the only reason why you would go against the Dallas Cowboys on a Sunday night for the first week of the season, when you know damn well that the Dallas Cowboys play well first week of the season.
Right.
Even you know this. Philadelphia has been a victim of the Dallas Cowboys quite a few times during week 1 of the NFL season. So you know what? Let your hatred flow. You can pull the mommy dearest and no more wire hangers, because the wire hangers are the Dallas Cowboys. But in every way, shape, and form, at receiver, for damn sure at running back, and at quarterback, the Dallas Cowboys are a better team. Now, if you want to throw out Jalen Ramsey, Jalen Ramsey can't hold up 3 wide receivers.
On paper.
Let's just get that through.
On paper.
I got Dallas. I want to thank you for the W early.
I got the Rams.
Yeah, you sound real confident when you say that.
Hey, we shall see what happens Sunday Night Football when they open the SoFi Stadium. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for Alex and I. We're going to be back to give you our Monday night predictions when those games come around. But stay tuned, because we got a lot of good stuff in the works. A big thank you to Natalini Properties. Also, thank you to our guys at Blitzalytics, my man, Mr. Andre, the personal trainer, and of course, the Chicago Sky for being a part of this tonight. Hey, much love to everybody. Be safe, social distance, wear a damn mask, wash your hands. And you know what? I know it's football season, but after the games are over, share a beer and be kind to one another. We'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.